let's begin by arriving together. Find a position that feels comfortable and supported, and let your hand rest. If it feels safe, you can soften your gaze or gently close your eyes. And take a slow breath in and even a longer breath out. Another slow breath in and a longer breath out. And let your breath whisper to your whole system, it is safe to pause, I'm here now. And notice without judgment what is happening inside of you in this moment. Perhaps there are sensations in the body, there are some emotions that are coming in, or thoughts moving through. There is nothing to fix or manage. Just bring it to your gentle awareness. Now invite your attention towards part of you that gets easily stirred up or triggered. The one that tightens or flares up or shuts down when something small feels too much. You don't have to change it. Just notice it's here, doing what it knows to keep you safe. And if that feels supportive, place a hand on your heart or on your belly and say silently to yourself, thank you for protecting me. I see you. You don't have to do this alone anymore. And let your next few breaths land softly. Each one reminder that right here, right now, you're safe. And you are in charge. And let's carry this steady, compassionate awareness with you as we move into today's session. So our theme today is triggered by small things. Stop the spiral in minutes. So we have all had these moments when something tiny, a tone, a look, a word, suddenly stirs up a big wave inside. Maybe it's anger, maybe it's shame, or fear that something feels much larger than what just happened. And these reactions can be confusing sometimes, but they are not random or wrong. They echo of something which you have experienced as a young child when you didn't feel safe or seen. And your system learned to stay on guard. So today we'll gently explore what happens in those moments when there is a huge, something triggers you, something small triggers you, and how the mind and the body reacts, and how we can begin to recognize the early signs before you get swept away. And we'll look at those reactions with kindness, understanding what once protected you, but no longer need to run the show. And then we'll move inwards together to connect with parts of you that still hold those fears or memories, and learn how to calm the inner storm and return to the present with steadiness. You don't need to know any specific process. I'll guide you. If you're new here, don't worry. I'll guide you step by step. And we'll follow, if time permits, with the gentle sound healing using tuning forks. And then we will open up for reflections and questions. So let's take a moment, a breath, and let yourself fully arrive. Nothing to fix, nothing to force, just your presence. Now, why does it happen? What are the deep roots of the triggers? There could be old wounds that get activated. When something small sets off a big emotional wave, it's not about weakness, it's about memory. We all carry what you could think of as an emotional knots, old wounds formed in the moments when we felt shamed, unseen, or unsafe. And when life tugs at those knots, they pull us straight back into the original pain. As if that part of us, the one who first felt powerless or invisible or unseen, suddenly wakes up and says, "Oh, not again, not this, this is not happening." And so a tiny comment, a disapproving look, or someone turning away can ignite a storm inside because it touches that wound that never fully healed. For example, imagine someone at work dismisses your idea and you feel an instant flash of shame, and a voice inside your head says, "You shouldn't have spoken." And that's not just today's reaction, that's an echo of the child who once learned that speaking up brought rejection or ridicule. And the brain has an alarm system. From your brain's point of view, a trigger isn't an overreaction, it is a protection response. The survival center in your brain, the amygdala, works faster than logic. Its job is to detect anything that even resembles past danger. So if you have lived through years of criticism, dismissal, or feeling unsafe, your nervous system becomes finely tuned to spot those little signals again, even when they're very, very small. Even a raised eyebrow, a sigh, or delay in someone's text can set off an internal alarm. Oh no, it's happening again. And in that instant, the brain doesn't see your colleague or your partner, it sees the past. For example, a friend doesn't respond to your message all day, you suddenly feel anxious or angry. Logically, you know he or she could be busy, but your body remembers what it was like to wait for attention that never came. And your system says, "I know this feeling. This is rejection." So the past trauma amplifies present emotions. Inside all of us are those younger parts that still hold the emotion from those early experiences. They live quietly until something familiar stirs them up. When that happens, they flood us with old feelings. Not because they want to sabotage you, but because they are still trying to protect you from being hurt again. For example, a woman whose needs were ignored growing up might feel crushed if a partner forgets her birthday. It's not really about the gift. It's about that deep stored belief, "I don't matter." And that younger part rises up trying to make sure we never feel that invisibility again. And these patterns aren't signs of failure. They are the psyche whose intelligence has been outdated with strategies that were at that time for safety. So the problem is that they are using an old map in a new landscape. So when you notice yourself reacting strongly, remember that it's not just you today. It's an earlier part of you saying, "Please don't let that ever happen again." Understanding this is a first step towards changing it. Because once we can recognize what's really being touched, the old wound rather than the present moment, we begin to meet ourselves with compassion instead of shame or guilt. And that's where the healing begins. Not by suppressing the triggers, but by listening to what it's trying to show you. So what really happens when you get triggered? There's an emotional hijack and your logic goes offline. So when something small suddenly sets you off, a tone, a delay, a message left unread, it can feel as if your whole body flips from calm to chaos. And that's not imagination. That's your brain alarm system reacting faster than thought. And a deep ancient part of your nervous system takes in charge, scanning for danger. And in that instant, your rational mind is sidelined. Your heart races, muscle tighten, maybe your voice rises, or you freeze. That's your body survival response. It's saying something here isn't safe. Even if you know it's not a big deal, your body doesn't yet believe that. For example, a colleague interrupts you mid-sentence in a meeting. You feel your chest tighten, anger flare up. You know that they probably didn't mean harm. But your system reacts as if you are 10 years old again, unheard, dismissed, invisible. And when you are emotionally triggered, the body doesn't distinguish between then and now. The emotional brain recognizes patterns, not calendars. So if it is today's situation resembles an old hurt, even faintly, it replays that pain as if it's happening all over again. And this is why something tiny can sometimes feel enormous. You're not reacting to what is in front of you. You're reacting to everything it reminds you of. And the small present-day cue awakens an entire emotional memory network, the part of you that still carries the feeling from long ago. So what is happening is that a younger hurt part of you, the one that learned I don't matter, has momentarily taken the driver's seat. You're not broken, you're remembering, but through emotion and not through thought. And when you go on a downward spiral, your protectors take over. So once that inner alarm sounds, the body rushes to protect you. Some part of you might lash out, wanting to defend or control, and others might collapse inward, going numb, shutting down, or trying to disappear. It's not a weakness, it's a survival intelligence shaped long time ago. Then comes the thoughts like, why did I react like that? What's wrong with me? And the shame spiral begins. And that shame in mind is an attempt to regain control after feeling powerlessness. For example, you snap at your partner for forgetting to call. Moment later, guilt floods in. You think, oh, I overreacted. But beneath that anger was an old fear of being invisible, and beneath the guilt, the same belief, I am too much. So your reaction was your system way of protecting you from deeper wound of abandonment. It is as if your psyche says, if I don't get angry first, maybe I won't have to feel that pain again. So how do we do a compassionate reframe? So what looks like overreaction is actually overprotection. Your system isn't misbehaving, it is overfunctioning. The real problem is that it's using an old map for a new landscape. And when we begin to notice this pattern, the quick flip, the flood, the spiral we can start to pause and recognize this isn't about now. Something old is asking for more care. And that awareness is a doorway out of the spiral, back to presence, back to choices. So how do you stop the spiral? There's a power of pause. And so what you do is, when the wave of emotion hits you, the first step towards healing is not to fix it, but to pause and breathe. And that single breath can begin to interrupt the automatic loop between body and the old memory. Every time you pause, you're saying to your system, I'm here now. This is today, not then. For example, you feel a surge of anger when your partner forgets something important. Instead of reacting, you notice your chest tightening. You take a slow breath and silently say, I know this feeling. That pause gives your wiser self a chance to step in before the younger, the hurt one, takes over. So what keeps the spiral alive is when we become the feeling. When anger, fear, or shame completely takes over. But when we turn inwards, towards it, with curiosity instead of judgment, we begin to transform it. The key is to notice the emotion and think that a part of me feels this way, rather than I am angry. So if you say, I am angry, instead of you say, a part of me feels anger, that small shift allows you to listen without being drowned by the emotion. So you feel dismissed in a conversation and want to shut down. Instead of disappearing inside, you can inwardly say, a part of me feels small, unseen, right now. That statement invites compassion. You become both listener and the confronter inside yourself. So bringing everyone on the table and creating inner cooperation. And this is what we are going to practice actually today. So inside of you lives many parts, each shaped by different moments of your story. Some protect, some carry pain, others try to keep control. Healing begins when we bring them together, not to debate, but to be seen. So imagine a long table, and at this table sits the parts that panics when ignored, the one that snaps in anger, the one that hides and shuts down, and then the one that feels ashamed afterwards. You, with the calm presence at the head of the table, invite them all to take a seat, not to fight, but to be heard. And your role is simply to say that I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to see you. I know you've been trying to help me in some way or the other. So let's say someone criticizes you. At your inner table, one part wants to defend fiercely, another wants to disappear, and another whispers, I'm never good enough. When you let them all speak, rather than letting one hijack the whole system, calm and clarity comes naturally. And as I said, we are going to practice that today. And compassion is the real regulator. You can't shame or logic your way out of being triggered. The part of you that reacts doesn't need discipline. It needs your ear. It needs a relationship with you. And when you meet that part with respect and warmth, it begins to relax. And that's how the cycle breaks. Not through control, but through connection, through communication. So healing isn't about never getting triggered again. It's about recognizing the moments you are pausing, listening, bringing every part of you back to the same table so no one inside has to fight alone. And that's how you stop the spiral. That's where the real inner peace begins. So, what are we going to do? We are going to work on that together, and there are two questions for you. Can you recall moments or moment when small triggers sparked a big emotional reaction for you? And how do you usually try to calm yourself when that happens? Or when that what tends to not work? And simply let those questions settle into you, and they will be doorway to our inner work. And keep the image of the table that I sent to you next to you. And if you don't have a printout or you haven't drawn it, I'm going to just put up that image here so that you can draw it on a piece of paper and write what comes up for you as a question. So it'll have both. So that's the image. And if you can look at the questions to see what comes up for you. Okay, so take a moment to find a position that feels comfortable and supported. And let your hands rest easily. And take a slow, steady breath in. And a longer, slower breath out. Another breath in. And a longer breath out. And let your body know it's safe to pause. I'm here now. And if it feels right, you can close your eyes. And wherever you need to, you can always open your eyes to take notes. Now allow yourself to arrive. And imagine a calm, light-filled room with a large table in the center. And see yourself seated at the head of the table. Steady, kind, and curious. This is your inner space. Now quietly invite all parts of you that tend to get triggered by small things that happen often. The ones that flare up or lash out or defend. And then there are the ones that shrink, freeze or hide. Let them know they are welcome here. Each one will have a place on the table. No one needs to take over. So just invite the parts that feel angry, loud or protective to sit on the right side of the table. And on the left side, invite the parts that tend to become submissive, frozen or withdrawn. And if any other part wants to be present, like the one that feels ashamed after a reaction, or the one that tries to fix and smooth things over, they are welcome to have a seat. Let the room be filled with the sense of your presence, calm, caring and in charge. And you might softly remind them, you each have your place at the table. You don't need to overwhelm me. I'm here with all of you. Now take a moment to invite and fill up all the chairs. And you can take note on the side of the chair who is representing what. On the right side, you invite the one that get angry, loud or protective. And on the left side, the one that tend to become submissive, frozen or withdrawn. Let them all be on the table. Take a moment. Now look at all the parts that are there around the table. You are as the head of the table, grounded, present, compassionate. And take a few breaths as you look around and see them all. Know each of them by the name or the title that you have put on the chairs. Just take a deep breath inside. Feel yourself grounded as you see and look at this table. And turn your awareness towards the right side of the table, towards the part that react quickly, maybe with anger, defensiveness, control, frustration. And invite one of them to step forward for a moment that wants to be understood most right now. And gently ask, are you here with me now? Notice how it appears as a feeling or a sensation in your body or a voice. And from your calm seat, with curiosity, you can say, I see you. I am here with you now. I'd like to understand you better. I'm curious to know more. And then ask, I'm curious to know, what are you trying to do when I'm triggered? What is your intention? What is your objective? Notice what you hear. And see if you can acknowledge what you just heard. And ask follow-up questions. I am curious to know, what are you afraid would happen if you did not step in this way when I get triggered? What are you afraid would happen if you did not step in this way when I get triggered? What are you afraid would happen? Ask a follow-up. What is the biggest fear you are having? What are you trying to protect me from? And ask a follow-up, how long have you been doing this job or this role for me? Do you remember how old when I was when you first took on this role? And what was happening then? If you sense a younger version of yourself, connect to this part, acknowledge softly, and see what it shows you. How old were you and what was going on in your life at that time? See if you can acknowledge and say softly, you've been carrying this for a long time. You don't have to carry it alone anymore. And notice how it reacts. Thank this part for its effort and care. And see if you can turn your attention towards the left side of the table, towards the part that tend to go silent, freeze, or hide when things feel too intense. And let one of those parts step forward. It might be the one that wants to disappear or stay quiet or avoid conflict. Ask inside, are you here with me now? And notice what emotion that comes up and what you feel in your body. And what you hear. And see if you can say, I see you, I'm here with you now, and I'd like to understand you better. And then gently ask with curiosity, what is your intention for me when you pull away or stay quiet when there's a trigger? What are you trying to do for me? And ask it, what are you afraid would happen if you didn't protect me this way? What is that biggest fear you're having for me? What are you trying to protect me and keep me safe from? Now ask, I'm curious to know, when did you first learn you had to do this way? How old was I when you took on this role? And what was going on at that time in my life? If a younger image or moments arise, acknowledge with compassion and let it know you shouldn't have to handle that alone. I am here with you now. And thank this part for its loyalty and protection. And see if you can now return your awareness to the whole table. You sit at the head, calm, kind, compassionate, centered. And on your right are the part that get loud and protective, and on the left the part that goes quiet and small. And perhaps there are others sitting nearby. Everyone has a seat, no one is excluded. Now begin a gentle conversation from your grounded seat, and to the right, the protective louder part. Ask them, what matters most for you when you step in? And ask, what would help you feel 10% safe right now, safer right now, 20% safer right now. So what I need to do that will make you feel 20% safer right now. Thank the right side for their input, and just notice how it feels to you, what you heard. And then turn to the left side, the quiet or the withdrawn parts, and ask, what are you most afraid of when things get intense? And then ask follow-up question, what would help you feel a little more at ease? What I need to do for you to feel a little bit more at ease? Notice how you feel towards both sides. And you can say silently, I see how you are both being trying to protect me, just in different ways. Now imagine the two sides looking at each other across the table. Let them notice what they both want and how they are speaking to each other. So you become an observer as the left side speaks to the right and the right speaks to the left. And notice what they are saying to each other. You might say quietly to the room, you have each worked hard in your own way to keep me safe. Thank you for doing that. I'm grateful. And then ask a question to both sides. Do you actually want to keep doing this job? Or have you been afraid to stop? What would help you? You're asking to both sides. What would help you to feel safe enough to rest a little? What do you need from me? What do you need from each other? Now look around the table once more. Each part has its own seat, its own story, its own care for you. You are here, steady, calm, leading with kindness. Say to them softly, I heard you, you matter, you're not alone anymore. And see them relax in their chairs. The room grows quieter and the air feels lighter. And take one deep breath and say to yourself, I'm here now. And take another breath in and say to yourself, I'm one who can lead with care. And look back at the table and let them know that I will be back with you for a regular check. And repeat to yourself, I'm here now. I'm the one who can lead with care. And let that knowing fill your body. A calm authority that doesn't control, but listens, leads, and includes all. Carry this image of the table with you so that when the life brings its small triggers, you'll know there's a calm place within where all you can sit and no one has to fight alone anymore. Now take a couple of breaths, soft, steady, natural, and notice what is present inside of you. Maybe some space feels lighter. Maybe another part still feels stirred or unsure. All of it is welcome. Bring to mind the image of the table, which has parts of you that get easily triggered, the ones that react quickly to protect you. Know that they have all been working hard for a long time, and let them know gently, you are seen today. You don't have to protect me in the same way anymore. I am here with you now. If it feels right, place a hand on your chest or anywhere on your belly and feel the support beneath you, steady, grounding, kind. And let your breath remind your whole system it is safe to rest now. And silently offer these truths to yourself. I am safe in this moment. I can meet my triggers with compassion. I am the calm that holds all of my parts. And take one more slow, deep breath in and a long, soft exhale out. And let this inner steadiness travel with you as you move back into your day. A quiet reminder that no matter what arises, you can return to home, to yourself in minutes. Welcome back.